The mother was a nanny from a wealthy family. She won the favor of her employers, who allowed her child to act as a tutor for the young master. My sister said I was the older sister and shouldn't compete with her. So, she got to go to the elite school after all. I continued my studies at a regular school. 5 years from now, I'll be graduating from college. My sister died abroad, her body covered in signs of abuse. On my way to collect her body, I was in a car accident. When I opened my eyes again, it was the day I made that decision. Without hesitation, I chose to become the young master's tutor. My sister watched quietly, with no objections. I know she's been reborn too. Once again, we're reversing the course of our lives. My mother called me and chinching over, saying with a happy expression, "The lady mentioned that our daughter is around the same age as young Master Su. I'd like to ask which of you would be willing to act as his companion. All tuition and living expenses will be covered, plus a monthly allowance. The terms are very attractive. There's no need to study hard. All you need to do is take good care of young Master Su. After graduating from the elite high school, you can go abroad to study and even join the company along with the young master." The mother listed all the advantages, and then asked, "Xiao Ye, Xiaoxing, which of you wants to go?" Morning Star was eerily quiet. She had a carefree personality, loved to enjoy herself, didn't like hard work, and hated studying. Being a tutor seemed like the perfect role for her. In her past life, as soon as she heard that, she couldn't sit still. She raised her hand and shouted, "I'll go, I'll go." After saying that, she coquetted with me. "Chin Yu, you're my older sister and such a good student. You're not allowed to compete with me." Although I'm somewhat attracted by the teaching staff at those elite schools, I also know that it would be better to give this opportunity to Morning Star. So I smiled and nodded. "I'm not competing with you." In this lifetime, Morning Star kept her head lowered in silence. Even her mother noticed something was wrong. "Little Star, what's wrong? I thought you'd be eager to go." Morning Star forced a smile. "I'm so lazy and talk too much. I'm not suitable to serve the young master. Let my sister go instead." I'm sure she was reborn too. Mother thought what she said made sense. She turned to me and asked, "Xiao Ye, do you want to go?" I replied indifferently, "I'll go this time." Morning Star turned to look at me, her eyes shining with delight. "Sis, I knew you loved me the most." After the candidate was determined, my transfer procedures were completed quickly. At the lady's instruction, I moved into the villa and lived and ate with Lu Angshu. At 15, Lu Angshu isn't fully developed yet, but the air of privilege and comfort is already evident in his demeanor. He sized me up, who had just moved in, with a contemptuous look in his eyes. He asked coldly, "Have you taken a bath yet?" I understood right away he disapproved of my fair skin. In her past life, Morning Star also faced such difficulties. These words caused her great pain. She felt inferior because of her skin color and did everything she could to lighten it. In the photos I received later, she looked like a lifeless doll. I replied to him in the same manner. There was no water in the complex last night, so I didn't wash anything. Lu Angshu immediately frowned. "It's so dirty. Don't get close to me until you take a shower." "Okay. Then I'll go take a shower first." I ignored him and followed the butler upstairs. The butler couldn't help but remind him, "The young master is quite particular about cleanliness. Please make sure to take a bath every day from now on." I politely thanked him. "Thank you, Uncle Zhang, for the reminder. I'll remember it." The butler left. Satisfied, I put down the clothes he had brought and went to take a shower in the bathroom. For dinner, it was just me and Lu Angshu. His parents aren't home very often, so he wanted someone to keep him company. Lu Angshu clearly wasn't satisfied with me anyway. Every time he looked up, he'd give me a sidelong glance. I pretended not to notice and just kept eating. With a clatter, Lu Angshu threw down his chopsticks. The butler stood by, sweating profusely. I continued to eat with my head down, still having a great appetite. This young master has been pampered since he was a child. He's never met someone as brazen as me. No matter how he tries to suppress me, I just ignore him. Naturally. He loses his temper. Are you a pig? All you know how to do is eat. His tone was harsh and mocking. After taking the last bite of my food, I wiped the corners of my mouth with a napkin before speaking slowly. Young master. We're all still growing. Eating more will help us grow taller. Are you already 8 meters tall? Lu Ongshu could hold back no longer. He growled. Get out. Leave now. It was impossible to just walk out like that. So I calmly went upstairs. I know that provoking Lu Ongshu like this won't end well for me. After all, he doesn't even need to lift a finger to get rid of me. I took out a diary. The handwriting was messy, indicating that the person who wrote it was in a hurry, but had a lot to say. I've gone through it pretty thoroughly now. I'll put it away carefully. The next day, Lu Ongshu and I went to school together by car. In Lu Ongshu's class, all the students came from wealthy and influential families like his own. They shared resources with each other and formed their own small groups. Among them, the group led by Lu Ongshu was the most popular. Capital is one factor, but appearance plays an even more important role. When I stood on the podium and the teacher introduced me to the whole class, there was laughter from the students below. Did it just roll around in the mud? Good heavens! How can anyone be so unsophisticated? Will she smell bad? Please don't get anywhere near me. Every word of these was clearly heard by my ears. I can imagine how helpless Morningstar must have felt standing here. She was popular in regular schools because of her kind personality and willingness to help others. Everyone wanted to be friends with H. I glanced at the people below with a blank expression. Gradually, the noise below ceased. My name is Su Qinyue. It's great to meet everyone. The teacher pointed to the empty seat in the last row. Su Qinyue, please sit next to Guziyu. Guziyu, a spoiled and problematic young master, is far worse than Lu Ongshu. I walked over and put down my backpack. Guziyu, who had been dozing off, raised his head. His eyes were sharp and filled with hostility. Who told you to sit here? Teacher. I continued to pack my backpack. Ignoring everyone else, Guziyu continued to stare at me intently. When he saw that I was sitting there calmly, he suddenly stood up and kicked over my table with a loud crash. The whole class was dead silent. Not even the teacher dared to speak. I looked at him and smiled. With both tolerance and helplessness, it's hard to control violent tendencies, isn't it? You're already doing very well. Then I went to help him lift the desk. After it was lifted, I asked seriously, do you want to kick it one more time? You can try again, but once you kick the desk, you can't kick me anymore. I subtly made everyone, including him, realize that he was a person with violent tendencies. Guziyu probably hadn't ever suffered such an unfair treatment before. He grabbed my collar outright. I immediately covered my face and screamed, "Young master, save me." Lu Ongshu let out a light snort and spoke slowly. Ziyu, when beating a dog, look at its owner. The collar was loosened. I patted my chest in fear and sighed. The young master really has a kind heart. Guziyu seemed very eager to take action, but since he got along well with Lu Ongshu, he managed to hold back. I lowered my head to tidy up my desk, not missing Lu Ongshu's sly yet satisfied smile, nor Guziyu's undisguised scrutinizing gaze. Everything is developing in a direction different from that of my past life. I'm very clear about my identity. I give my all to Lu Ongshu. Doing things like running errands and bringing water is just part of my duties. My classmates laugh at me, saying, "A nanny's daughter knows how to take care of others." I just pretend not to hear them. After a while, these people give up and stop talking. This semester was relatively calm. After the final exams, I ranked third in the class. The first place went to a quiet and unassuming girl named Lin Xiang. The second place was won by Guziyu. After the results were announced, Guziyu gave me a rare look, as if to say, "I didn't expect you to actually have some brains after all." I turned to look at him, smiling casually. "Next time, I'll be second." Guziyu sneered and turned his head away, ignoring me. During the winter break, I could finally go home. When Morning Star saw me return, her eyes sparkled. She said, "Sis, you've become so beautiful now." The Liu family didn't treat me badly at all. I used expensive skincare products and wore clothes from famous brands. After all, teenagers change every day. I know the changes in myself. Xiaoxing looks pretty too. I walked over and touched her long hair, whose high ponytail swayed gently. In her past life, when she went home during winter break, she cut her hair from shoulder length to a short style that reached just below her ears. I wondered why she wanted to cut it so short, since she had always preferred long hair. She just smiled and gave a perfunctory answer. It wasn't until this life that I understood the reason. I handed her a new phone and an envelope containing 5,000 yuan. Morning Star took it and looked at it. Sure enough, my sister can live better than me, but next semester should be really difficult, right? Can you handle it? She leaned her head back and looked at me. I nodded. There shouldn't be any problem. But you, are you getting used to it? I'm not used to it yet, Morning Star said, fiddling with her new phone. Learning is difficult. The water heater at home keeps breaking down. The food in the cafeteria tastes terrible, and Mom talks too much. I listened quietly until she laughed. Chin Yu, you can thrive anywhere. But I can't. I hugged her from behind. But we're twin sisters. Our fates are connected. She replied softly. You're right. After the winter break, she handed me another diary she had written. You'll have to walk the path ahead on your own from now on. In my past life, 2 months after the winter break, my mother moved back to our hometown to take care of my grandmother. I had to transfer to a school there as well. Qinxing and I could only keep in touch through text messages on our phones. Over time, aside from sending me money, she rarely reached out to me anymore. I took the diary with a smile, looking forward to the day we meet again. After packing his luggage and returning to the villa, Lu Angshu said unhappily, "You really don't want to come back until school starts." I smiled at him slightly and said, "Not bad. I guess. Has the young master been studying hard? Can he beat me in the exams this semester?" The butler gave me a wink from the side. Lu Angshu was so embarrassed he had nothing to say and went upstairs. I smiled at the butler and went back to my room. Sitting at the desk, I looked at the traces of tears on the diary. That page read, "That day, she arrived, and my nightmare began. From then on, I was no longer a human being. I became a dog who could be treated however the owner wished." In the second week of the new semester, a new student joined the class. She was the girl mentioned in Morning Star's diary, Wan Baozhu. Wan Baozhu comes from a prominent family. She's extremely beautiful, and her smile resembles that of a little angel. She, Lu Angshu, and Gu Ziyu were childhood friends. However, she transferred to school abroad later on, but has now returned. It was obvious to everyone that Gu Ziyu and Lu Angshu treated her differently from the rest. The students were secretly gossiping about the relationship between the three of them. I overheard their conversations. And to my surprise, I was even mentioned in them. When Wanbazu first heard that I was Lu Angshu's study partner, she didn't show any dislike at all. She smiled, took my hand, and said deliberately to Lu Angshu, "Ah, Su has a really bad temper. You must be tired." Yeah. Lu Angshu wasn't angry at all. In fact, he seemed a bit flustered. How am I supposed to have a bad temper? Besides, if you think I have a bad temper, then you shouldn't be my friend at all. He's even more aloof now. Wanbazu is already used to Lu Angshu like this. With a few kind words, she managed to make him happy again. If I hadn't seen her wiping her hand, which had touched mine with such indifference, I might have wondered if Morning Star and the person I met were actually the same person. Fortunately, she remained the same, that arrogant and cruel young lady. During the sports meet, I was inexplicably assigned to run the 3-kilometer race. It was obvious that someone was up to no good. The sports commission member said with glee, "There's no way to change this list. You'd better get ready properly during this time." I secretly observed the expressions of the other students in the class. A few of them seemed genuinely worried about me, but most of them just acted like they were watching a show. In her past life, Morning Star was registered in the same way. At that time, the bullying she faced was already extremely severe. She didn't dare to object and could only keep running. Eventually, she fainted on the playground, and no one even took her to the infirmary. It was the school nurse who found her and took care of her. In this life, it's me instead. All my sensitivity is reserved for Morning Star. Towards everyone else, I remain indifferent. Young master. I stood up and called out loudly to Lu Angshu in the front row. Young master. Young master. Lu Angshu was chatting with Wan Baozhu when he turned around, clearly displeased. Shut up. What is it? They reported me for running 3 kilometers. I can't run away. If I do, I'll die. You're the young master, think of a way. I say this with complete honesty. Lu Angshu. Wan Baozhu. I ultimately didn't go for the 3-kilometer run. Because of Lu Angshu's words. If you don't want to run, then don't run. The sports committee removed my name from the list. Guziyu sat next to me and sneered coldly. Bookworm. What's wrong with being a bookworm? Are you going to hit me? Why would I hit you? Then forget it. Guziyu was so angry that his teeth clenched, and he flipped through the textbook noisily. I know Wan Baozhu is watching this way, but I'll pretend not to notice. In the days that followed, my life became much more lively. I got wet after using the restroom. I returned to the classroom drenched, and pointed at Lu Angshu, saying, Young master. Someone attacked the dog without even looking at its owner. Lu Angshu almost choked on a mouthful of water. His classmates also had various expressions on their faces, probably not expecting that I could be this shameless. Later, no one watered it anymore. Instead, dead mice started being thrown into my desk. I walked up to Lu Angshu, holding the mouse's tail in my hand, and said seriously, Young master, someone is beating the dog without even looking at its owner. Lu Angshu almost vomited upon seeing the bloody corpse of the dead rat before him. He roared, Get away from me, with a pained expression. I carried the mouse back to my seat and handed it to Guziyu. Young master Gu, please take this dead mouse. With this, we'll officially establish a master-slave contract. Guziyu's face was as pale as iron, but he was truly thinking. Lu Angshu finally recovered and said irritably, I told you to throw the mouse away. Why have you come back? After that day, no one ever set dead mice for me anymore. After the dead rat incident, the methods they used to get rid of me became more sophisticated. Like framing me and incriminating me. A girl from the next class lost a gold bracelet. Since the value of the bracelet was quite high, the school immediately checked the surveillance footage. After checking around, I found that I had passed her by earlier. Later, when she returned to the classroom, she said her bracelet was missing. So the security team, along with the teacher, turned over my desk. Sure enough, a gold bracelet fell out of it. Everyone looks at me with a well, I knew it expression. As if I'd definitely steal things just because I'm poor. The teacher was very disappointed. Su Qinyue, even if you. Please don't be disappointed. Teacher, just take it to the lab for fingerprint analysis. That way, we'll know whether I touched it or not. The teacher was silenced by my words. The girl tried to argue weakly. You must have worn gloves while stealing. I said nonchalantly. Bring the evidence. Young master. Someone. Shut up. Lu Angshu walked over. Feeling a headache, he said tiredly. Do your job properly. It's not her. What more could that girl say? Guziyu suddenly interjected. All she knows how to do is steal fruit from the cafeteria and eat it secretly. I had no qualms about it. It's delicious. So I wanted to eat more. My teachers and classmates also believed me. Looking at Wan Baozhu's cold expression among the crowd, I smiled innocently. In the diary, the most crucial turning point in Morning Star's fate was Lu Angshu's birthday party. Qinxing, who was bullied, isolated, and slandered at school, struggled to survive. The Wanbao pearl, which had already trampled her underfoot, showed no hesitation in expressing its contempt and malice. With a gentle voice and sweet smile, it forced Morningstar to crawl around like a dog at the banquet, not allowing her to speak properly. That was the final straw that broke Qinxing. She mustered the courage to tell Lu Wangshu that she wanted to end their arrangement of her accompanying him in his studies. She wanted to go home. Lu Wangshu sneered as he pulled out the video from the day of The banquet. In a light-hearted tone, he said, "You can go. But this video will go viral." That gold-digging woman tried to imitate a dog's bark in public to please some rich guy. Her face is clearly visible in the video. "I remember you have a twin sister. She probably won't have it any easier either." At 16, Morningstar gave in despair. After that, even more intense insults poured upon her. She struggled to survive, trying every means to breathe. 18-year-old Qinxing was forcibly assigned as a girlfriend to the driver of Wanbazu. The 30-something driver happily abused her. Morningstar resisted, called the police, and even tried to escape. She tried every possible way she could think of to save herself, but none of them worked. How much pain must my Morningstar have suffered over these 5 years? How desperate must she have been before she died? Reading what was written on the last page of the diary, I bit my thumb hard to hold back the tears. On my 23rd birthday, Lu Wangshu took me to a party. They forced me to drink alcohol and give me drugs. Everyone behaved like wild beasts gone mad, while Lu Wangshu just sat there quietly, watching everything. Morning moon. Back then, I really suffered a lot. My body hurt. My head hurt. My heart hurt too. And then, I died. I lay on the table, crying uncontrollably, and didn't even notice when Lu Wangshu entered the room. Lu Wangshu frowned. "She's crying so ugly." With my eyes lowered, I used a piece of paper to blow my nose and asked gloomily, "Is there something you need? Young master, why are you crying?" Lu Wangshu scratched his hair impatiently. "Just because of that little prank." Prank. When that word was invented, it probably wasn't meant to be used in this context. I composed myself and said, trying to sound strong, "No. I just miss home." Lu Wangshu seemed to be poked, turned around and left. Before closing the door, he said, "Let old you take you. I know he treats me differently." I didn't go home. Lu Wangshu seemed quite satisfied. There was much less sarcasm and mockery these days. Not only that, but even those pranks have stopped. And on top of that, like completely out of his mind, he insisted on taking me to a dress shop to have a custom-made dress for his birthday party. I refused without even thinking. Lu Wangshu was furious. "Su Qinyue, don't be so ungrateful. I focused on my book. I'm here to accompany you in your studies. Not some lady. Why would I need to wear fancy dresses? If you just study hard, that's the best reward you can give me." Once again, Lu Wangshu got angry and left. A few days later, Gu Ziyu suddenly asked me, "What are you going to wear to Wangshu's birthday party?" I stared at that final question and casually said, "Nanny outfit." Gu Ziyu remained silent. The next day, he brought along a handbag from a high-end brand I knew. "This is for you." He placed it on my desk in a domineering manner, causing my classmates to turn and look at us. I shrugged my shoulders and waved my hand. "No, no, please take it away. If it's given to you, then accept it. Don't be ungrateful." This sounds pretty familiar. Lu Wangshu appeared beside my desk at some point, looking displeased. "She's my study companion. I'll take care of preparing her dress." Gu Ziyu smirked provocatively. "She can also be my study partner. Stop arguing already." Wan Baoshu tilted her head and looked at me. "What kind of taste do those two have anyway?" "This weekend, I'll go with you to pick out a dress." I declined with a sheepish smile. "The dresses are too expensive. I can't afford them." "Of course it's me who's taking you there. What are you even thinking?" Wan Baoshu smiled and tapped my forehead. "It's tough for her to have to wash her hands again and again." Lu Wangshu agreed as well. "Go buy it. I'll cover the cost." Guziyu tossed the dress bag into the trash can behind him. Never mind. I looked at him seriously. It would be a shame to throw it away. If you invite me to your birthday party, I can wear this outfit. Guziyu was momentarily stunned. He glanced at me, then lowered his head to fiddle with his phone. It's not a big deal. I'll buy you something better. This little incident passed quickly. Choosing a dress for the weekend went smoothly as well. Wanbazi didn't do anything herself, but she really helped me find a dress that suited me. Soon, at the end of May, Lu Anshu's birthday arrived. The villa has been very lively these days. People have been busy with decorations. Chefs have been working on the menu, and I've been trying out the dishes. Everything tastes great. After eating my fill, I can't help but think that my circumstances in this life are completely different from those of Qingqing in his past life. Will their evil still be directed at me? On the night of the birthday party, I stood in the corner, dressed in a beautiful gown. Lu Angshu was surrounded by everyone at the center of attention. Beside him were Guziyu and Wan Baozhu, along with several other young masters and ladies. I watched them quietly, matching each face with their names. Lu Angshu turned his head suddenly, their eyes meeting for a moment. Then he turned back and continued talking about something else. This birthday party was attended mostly by people of the same age group. In high society, children's social relationships are also a very important aspect. Hey, whose daughter are you? The boy standing next to me stared at me openly. While formal gowns from expensive brands are indeed desirable, what these ladies really need isn't just gorgeous gowns. They also need sparkling jewelry, flawless makeup, delicate skin, and a little bit of grace to help them navigate such occasions with ease. I had no intention of hiding it. I told him bluntly, I'm Master Asahi's study companion. He burst into laughter, attracting the attention of the others as well. I've heard that she's the daughter of the Lu family's nanny. Truly, clothes make the man. She does seem quite attractive. Lu Xiao dotes on her so much. He even buys her dresses. I wonder if... They chuckled, as if they knew some secret between me and Lu Angshu that no one else knew. I opened my mouth to call out young master, but a girl beside me grabbed my arm and stopped me. She said to them, speak less, or you'll regret it. The guys completely ignored it, laughing in a lewd manner. Is there anything more attractive than us? What is she planning to show us? To be able to seduce young Master Lu, it has to be worth the effort, right? Hee hee hee. I shouted loudly. Young master. Someone is beating a dog here. I understand. Lu Angshu interrupted me, walking over toward us with a group of young ladies and gentlemen. The girl holding my hand sighed helplessly, gave them a good luck to you look, and stepped back to the outer circle. Lu Angshu asked coldly, what now? The boys. Seeing Lu Angshu standing by my side to support me, suddenly became awkward. We were just joking around. Nothing serious. Yeah, that's right. Just chatting, having a casual conversation. Facing the crowd's stares, I said with firmness. They claim there's an improper romantic relationship between us. My lord, rumors of this kind, even if they're obscene in nature, I feel it's necessary for you to know. I seemed to hear Lu Angshu sighing. He said, you guys, can't you tell when it's not the right moment to act like that? The boys immediately became submissive, smiling sheepishly as they begged for forgiveness and apologized. Guziyu said in a sarcastic tone, Angshu, why can just anyone come to your birthday party? Lu Angshu was even angrier now. He immediately ordered the butler to send those people away. The banquet ended successfully. Not only was I spared the insults from my past life, but Lu Angshu even stood up for me. It seems to be a story about a poor, innocent heroine and a cold on the outside but warm on the inside young master. The feelings between the protagonists are gradually changing. 2 years later, we graduated from high school, and I went to the United States with Lu Angshu. There's no change in our relationship. He's just gotten used to my temperament and the way I take care of him. I had excellent grades, and even in the United States, I remained among the top 3 in my field. Lu Angshu sometimes couldn't understand. You don't have to work so hard. After you return to China, you can still work at my company. The salary and benefits will be fair to you. I brought you to the United States. Not so that you just use instant noodles to take care of me. I slurped away at my bowl, not even lifting my head to respond to him. There's a Manchu-Han banquet tomorrow. Thank you. Lu Angshu went to eat instant noodles in silence. The United States is a remarkably free country, so free, in fact, that it's as if people's souls are completely exposed. Lu Angshu isn't a reserved person, judging by his behavior in his past life. Quite the opposite, he's someone who enjoys life to the fullest. Enjoyment is the privilege of those in higher positions. People whose needs for wealth and status are met from birth must seek stimulation elsewhere. Lu Angshu has a rather complicated relationship with women. It seems to be a common problem among young men like him. I've accidentally witnessed at a few situations that needed to be edited out from the footage. As expected, everyone was quite open and honest about it. Since Lu Angshu is open-minded, and the girls he dates are also open-minded, I'm even more open-minded as well. I grabbed my computer and said, "Young master, make sure all precautions are taken. Getting sick is troublesome." Then he gently closed the door. Wan Baoshu is also studying in the United States. She and Lu Angshu attend different schools, so they don't see each other very often. But it's not impossible for them to meet. She never became the sunny and cheerful young lady she might have been, even though she failed to trample me underfoot in high school. That didn't change her nature. She simply found other ways to vent her frustration. In her own words, her feet always needed to be on someone else's head. These two have shed the adolescent yearning they once felt, and entered into an open relationship where each person goes their own way. With mutual understanding, I've traveled through a chaotic world, focusing only on completing my homework, year after year, only occasionally, when staring at the chat screen on my phone, do I realize that this is a world completely different from the one in my past life. Lu Angshu had just finished taking a shower, wiping the water from his hair. He poked his head out from behind me. "What are you looking at?" His body exuded the faint scent of moisture and shower gel. Our cheeks were just an inch apart. I could see his eyelashes clearly without even having to turn my head. 21-year-old Lu Angshu is fully developed, with broad shoulders and long legs. His features are sharp and striking. A man who's built with real money has a distinct kind of charm. But we're completely innocent. We were just being affectionate toward each other. I showed him the phone screen. It's a photo sent by my sister. Lu Angshu stared at her for a while, then stood up and left, saying, "You're not as pretty as her." It's clearly two identical faces. After graduating successfully from the United States, I returned to China with Lu Angshu. Guziyu and Wan Baoshu also came back with us. The playboy transformed into a talented young man, swirling his glass of wine as he made strategic moves in the business world. I naturally became Lu Angshu's assistant. Guziyu tried several times to find out what my relationship was with Lu Angshu. After getting the answers, he became very eager to poach me from him. After a few times, Lu Angshu got annoyed and directly warned Guziyu not to come to him again. Wan Baoshu entered the entertainment industry. These days, even pretty young ladies who lack professional skills can still have many fans who admire them, especially since her family dotes on her and invests a lot of resources in her career. Just because the paparazzi caught her entering and leaving with Lu Angshu at the same time, their relationship was completely exposed in a very short time. These topics will definitely make it to the trending list. Childhood sweethearts, a perfect match in every way, heaven-sent couple, and my couple is real. After Lu Angshu was followed by paparazzi, he had an argument with Wan Baoshu on the phone. After all, both of them are quite self-centered, so arguments are common between them. After hanging up the phone, Lu Angshu said in a low voice, "Chin Yu, cancel tomorrow's schedule." I nodded. Okay. President Lu Angshu has indeed been under a lot of pressure lately. Entering the company, he's faced with situations that are completely different from those during his student days. He lay back on the sofa, a sense of laziness enveloping him. He said, "The funeral banquet. As the name implies, the world itself is a grand feast, a place for enjoyment and pleasure-seeking. I checked the time. It was 11:30. I had no objections. Okay. I'll go drive. Just as I was about to walk out, Lu Ongshu grabbed my wrist. I lost my balance and fell right onto him. I exclaimed, "Young master." Lu Ongshu held me tightly in his arms, sighing helplessly. "Qin Yu, do you even know how long I've been enduring this?" I'm honest and upright, with a sincere expression on my face. "What's there to endure? Where does it hurt?" He seemed to have 1,000 things to say, but instead, he simply smiled self-deprecatingly and let go of me. "You're too pure. I can't bear to let you go." I kept a serious expression as I looked at the top of his head and replied foolishly, "Yes. I take a bath every day." In the end, Lu Ongshu went to the party by himself, while I went home after work as usual. When I got home, a nightlight was left on in the living room. I opened the door to the guest bedroom, and sure enough, Morning Star wasn't asleep. She was deeply engrossed. Wearing headphones, the ends of her waist-length hair were still wet, indicating that she hadn't dried her hair after showering. The floor was covered with manuscript paper. She tapped away on a device that resembled an electronic keyboard, completely absorbed in her task. With no awareness that there was another person in the room, I didn't disturb her. I left and went back to my own room, where I reviewed the remaining 2 documents. I knew their interests had nothing to do with Lu's business interests. To achieve my goals, I would have to use others to help me. Lu Ongshu has reached an age suitable for marriage. The Wan and Lu families have agreed in principle to this union. Lu's parents are urging him to get engaged to Wan Baoshu as soon as possible. Lu Ongshu seems to be in a rebellious phase. He completal. Why ignores this matter? When pushed too hard, he just turns cold and slams the door. During breaks at work, I'd sometimes look up to find him staring at me with a complicated expression in his eyes. Wanja isn't as strong as it used to be, so it's even more urgent for them to form alliances through marriages. Wan Baoshu started to visit Lu Ongshu more frequently, to create hype. They also spread the rumor of an engagement to the media. Lu Ongshu was under pressure from all sides, which made him increasingly irritable. This created a tense atmosphere throughout the company. I simply fulfilled my duties as the executive assistant, staying quiet and unobtrusive. But Lu Ongshu insisted on being melodramatic. Qin Yu, born into such a family, not even able to decide one's own marriage. How tragic. I really couldn't help it, so I just laughed nervously. Yes, yes, yes. Lu Ongshu looked at me and said softly, "Even if you were just a piece of wood, you should have figured things out by now." I retorted confidently, "President Lu, I'm like gold. You have gold as your assistant, yet you don't appreciate it. You call me wood." With a bang, he stormed off in anger. When Wan Bazu came by, coincidentally, I was the only person in the office. "Su Qinyue," she said haughtily, sitting on the sofa and giving me orders. "Coffee." I handed the coffee to Wan Baozhu. She took a small sip and smiled sweetly. "You really remembered my taste after all these years." She suddenly changed the subject and said meaningfully, "It's no wonder Su can't live without you. You take such good care of him." I wasn't particularly moved. President Lu pays quite a lot. Ha Wan Bazu sneered. "Don't pretend to be naive in front of me. Do you really think I can't see what Su feels for you? After all these years, you've become the person he's always loved." "I can't understand what Miss Wan is saying," I replied perfunctorily. Wan Baoshu stood up, her eyes full of contempt. "It's not certain that he doesn't understand. Su, since you keep refusing to propose to me, I'll have to find a way." "Assistant Su, I look forward to seeing what happens." I remained unmoved. "Miss Wan, please go ahead." Wan Baoshu really went all out. She went straight to Qin Xing, gave her 1 million as a deposit, and asked her to seduce Lu Ongshu. In her opinion, Lu Ongshu was restless and unwilling to get engaged to her because he couldn't have me. Once he got me, even if it was as a substitute, he would think it was fine and give up his obsession. Logically, there seems to be no problem. The issue lies with Morning Star. People who spend their days thinking only about writing songs go crazy from lack of inspiration. By chance, they encounter Wan Baozhu, who comes to them. At first, the dazed morning star didn't recognize the magic pearl until she heard her introduction and purpose for coming there. Morning Star was shocked. The memories from her past life combined with her current madness, and she called the police within a second. When I rushed home, the police were trying to comfort Qinxing, who was crying loudly. Morning Moon, Morning Moon, I'm scared. When Morning Star saw me, it rushed into my arms, crying bitterly. Wan Baozhu, who was standing by, had the most disgusted expression I've ever seen. It seemed like she was cursing us both in her mind 10,000 times over. According to Wan Baozhu's assistant, Qinyu screamed loudly, stepping back while calling the police. She tore at her hair in desperation. Don't come near me. You heartless monster. Don't ever try to hurt me again. The police were also at a loss when dealing with Qinxing, who refused to communicate. They put it nicely. Miss Su, perhaps you could take your sister for a checkup. I nodded with a forced smile. Yes. I'll take her to see a doctor. I'm truly sorry for causing you all this trouble. Just as I sent the police off, I heard someone calling out to me as I turned around. Qin Yu, what happened? Lu Wangshu's appearance caused the situation to get out of control once again, and it was the Wanbao pearl that lost control. Wan Baozu had already been filled with anger, and now it all erupted. Lu Wangshu, you came here, to your personal assistant's home. I didn't want to get caught in the gunfire, so I went back to my room, holding the Morning Star in my hands. Morning Star had now calmed down. She was crying so hard that she could barely speak. In a soft voice, she said, I'm sorry for causing you trouble. I gently wiped her face. It's my fault for causing you trouble. After explaining the whole situation, Morning Star smiled with red eyes. I told you, you can do well wherever you go. But please, stop thinking about avenging me for me. You're fine. I'm fine. That's enough for this lifetime. My Morning Star is always so kind, always thinking of me. Don't worry. You know me best. I know what's important and what isn't. Morning Star moved aside, and I lay down on the bed too. We held hands, with our foreheads touching. I murmured, whether it's the Lu family or the Wan family, to me right now, they're like mayflies trying to shake a tree, but we're still young, and we have plenty of time to do this. I'm very happy. Chen Yue, I have a talent for music. So many people love the songs I write. I get to be with you every day. The only thing that bothers me is how to write even better songs. This is something I couldn't have even imagined in my past life. She smiled innocently. Let this happiness count in you. Together. I also laughed. Okay. Definitely. There was a knock at the door. I tucked the covers around Qinxing and went to open the door. Wan Baozu has already left. Lu Angshu asked tiredly. Why weren't you told right away? I poured him a cup of tea. Because there's no need. No need. He raised his voice slightly. I'm yours. He stumbled and eventually gave up. Has Seiyu gotten in touch with you lately? I nodded honestly. President Gu tried to arrange dinners with me a few times, but my schedule conflicted with his. I'm sorry, but I had to decline each time. Lu Angshu smiled. It was a smile that carried both schadenfreude and a sense of shared suffering. He looked at me and sighed. What kind of charm do you have? Exactly. 3 years later, Lu Angshu's rebellious phase passed, and he got engaged to Wan Baozhu in a grand ceremony. My position remains his chief assistant, but the responsibilities I handle are completely different from those when I first started. I'm in charge of managing key projects, giving me authority equivalent to that of a deputy general manager. Wan Baozu uses all kinds of marketing tactics, and Guziu also comes up with all sorts of ways to poach talent from others. Lu Angshu was extremely busy, and the hostility emanating from him made people keep their distance from him. On the contrary, I'm very happy that Morning Star participated in the singing competition. Although she didn't win first place, she did come in third. She received even more flowers and love as a result. When I got home from work, I was shocked to see her short hair. Xiaoxing. What's happened to your hair? For a moment, I thought of all kinds of things. Maybe you were attacked by vandals, or someone threw sulfuric acid on you. Morningstar patted the flour off her hands, smiled, and walked over to me. She spun around and said, "Why that face? Doesn't it look nice?" My fans all say my short hair looks great. I felt relieved and touched the top of her head. She looks great. Morningstar continued cooking, humming a song along. The drawer where the diary used to be kept now only contains documents related to the Liu and Wan corporations. I like to take one extra step when doing things. If there's a more convenient way to accomplish something before I have to defeat them hidden, I won't pass it up. So every day, I make a wish that their internal management will go completely wrong. Let science and metaphysics work together. If you keep thinking about it, there will surely be a response. The phone rang. When I checked the caller ID, it was indeed Gu Ziyu. He recently completed a major project successfully, so he's quite relaxed right now. When he has nothing to do, he likes to stir up trouble. He was so bold as to come pick me up right outside the company, saying he wanted to have dinner with me. The next day, Lu Angshu heard about this. He immediately ordered the security staff to block Gu Ziyu's car license plate. Days passed by like flowing water. At the age of 28, Lu Angshu and Wan Baozhu got married, becoming a trending topic online. 2 months later, I resigned from my job due to the non-compete agreement. I became unemployed for a while. Morningstar seemed to know all along that I would do this. She pulled out a bank card and handed it to me in a rather haughty manner. "Go ahead and spend it however you like." I took it without hesitation. Lu Angshu probably thought he had hurt me. He got drunk and came looking for me several times, but I ignored him, acting like I was made of wood. During these 2 years at home, I didn't do nothing. The connections I built at Lu's company didn't disappear just because I left. I also have real-time access to the movements of the Wanbao Pearl. When we were 30, Morningstar released her song to celebrate her 30th birthday. I put on my professional suit again and headed to the Gu Corporation's building. In the headphones was Morningstar's cold voice. The sky turned overcast, but it hadn't started to rain yet. Then, your umbrella appeared before my eyes. When I looked up, I saw a face that was exactly like mine. Morningstar handed me the umbrella and said, "Call me when you're done. I'll come pick you up." Gu Ziyu came out from the company building. When he saw us, he was clearly taken aback. Morningstar whispered in my ear, "Morning Moon, do you want to choose him?" I smiled at Gu Ziyu, then turned to push Qinxing into the car. Both indulging and merely observing are forms of cruelty. I'll always choose you. Everything is developing in a different direction from previous lives. So what? I know he treats me differently. So what? Their evil won't be revealed to me. So what? Their feelings for me are changing quietly. So what? I'm just a snail, hiding a knife inside my shell. I slowly climb up the grapevine, waiting patiently for the grapes to ripen.